Hey guys, so we've made a tool for all of you here in the Growth Engine room that's going to allow you guys to kind of create your own SEO audit process that you can use with Claude and the DataForSEO MCP that we talked about the other day. So this file is down below. You're just going to go ahead and grab it, throw it into Claude, tell it to run, and here's what's going to happen. It's going to ask us a series of questions. We're going to walk through building out our own SEO audit markdown file so that then you can save that markdown file that you've created, and anytime you want to run an SEO audit, you throw in your own individual file, tell it what you want to audit, and it's going to run. So we're going to run through really quick building out our own. Now it asked me if I wanted to run it or edit it because it knows it's mine. So we're going to run it. When giving it its brand number or brand colors, make sure you give it in hex code format. So we're going to give it ours. At this step, we could tell it we want to keep all of this. If we want to exclude anything, we can tell it which number to exclude. If you're not sure what any of this stuff is, you can ask it. So we're going to ask it just to tell us what everything is. In this section, if you want to weight anything a little heavier than something else because that's something that maybe your agency focuses on, you can do that. You can adjust all of these weighted percentages by what makes sense for you. For the purposes of this, I'm going to go ahead and say let's just keep the defaults. Now we're going to go ahead and just select a tone. I tend to be very, very direct, but in a consultative way. You can see the direct uses some terminology that maybe you wouldn't use with a client, so I'm going to go ahead and pick 2. All right, so it's generated a complete markdown file for us. You could copy this, paste it, save it somewhere else if you wanted to, or you can actually just go ahead and download it. Name it whatever it is you're going to want and click save. So now we're going to go ahead and open up a new chat, and we're actually going to run what it just created. So we're going to go ahead and grab our markdown file, put it in, and we're going to tell it what website we want to run this for. So this is a client that I've recently signed. I haven't launched their stuff yet. So we're going to go ahead and run this SEO audit on their old stuff and see how it was doing. And you can see it's going to ask me where I want to base the keyword research out of. Do I want to do a city, state, a county, maybe the entire country? You can do multiple areas. So for this purpose, we're just going to put in Santa Rosa, California. You may get some of these pop-ups if you haven't used DataForSEO, or if you haven't used it for a while or used this specific endpoint. Just tell it to allow it, and that's going to give it permission to use that endpoint with DataForSEO. Once you have that core file, you're able to upload it into Claude, ChatGPT, whatever it is you're using, and let it know to make some changes, cut some parts out, or shorten something up so that this process is a little quicker for you if that's what you want. For me, I don't mind it running a few minutes while I do something else to get a real thorough look at it, and it produces a pretty thorough report. Obviously, there's always more in-depth research that you can do. A bigger, in-depth technical audit is not going to be run by AI all the time, especially on larger sites. This is really intended more as an overview, something you can use in your sales process, maybe a leave behind or something that you can send to a client to show something's improved, kind of however you want to use it. Let's see, we got some notes here. So their old website wasn't even serving both www and non-www versions. So broken redirect, that's kind of crazy. That's going to ding them. All right, guys. So this did take about 5 minutes for this report to run. So like I said, it's kind of a give and take. You know, there's probably things out there a little quicker than this that are going to cost you a lot more. It cost me about 3 cents to run one of these reports through Data4SEO. It's cost effective, and honestly, 5 minutes for something that a year ago took an hour or two is a pretty great trade-off. If you want to reduce that size, the things that take the longest are going to be the 30-day map out at the end of the report. So you could go and remove that from your markdown file, and then also the HTML, which will allow us to then open up in a web browser and print as a PDF. If we want to take that route, you could also eliminate that and just do a straight markdown file. Those two things, if it's for internal use only, will generate this really quite quickly. So that's kind of your trade-off and what you want to think about. So let's go ahead and just open up this report and see what we've got. So we can see some key findings, some of the top recommendations, keywords that they are or are not ranking for in their local area, how difficult they would be to rank for, some gaps that they found where they don't exist, citation checks. You always want to double check on your citations. API endpoints pretty much everywhere that aren't directly with the platform can be hit or miss a lot of the time. So for instance, I do know for a fact they've got a Google business page, but it wasn't found through the Data4SEO API endpoint. And that can be for a handful of reasons. If it's a newer Google business page, it won't be discovered. If there's a mismatching phone number, it could not be discovered. If the name's typed a little bit different than it is in like the URL, it could not be discovered. So there's reasons that maybe these won't show up on a report pulled from an API. So always double check your critical ones like the Google business page. You want to make sure that those are there. We've got a keyword gap analysis, some opportunities listed. No blog content detected. There's the title tags. Some content assessment. I found placeholders on the website, so that's obviously a bad thing. Some suggested blog posts. And then overall how they're scoring throughout all of those categories based on the weighted systems that we had applied. And then here's that 30-day action plan that I was talking about at the bottom. So if we were going to keep this and use it as a handoff or send it somewhere, we could just come, print, save as PDF, and then we would have it. And you can see we went over 20 pages. So that's a really in-depth kind of quick audit that can be done in just a matter of minutes. Beats the heck out of what used to be out there. So go ahead and build your own. Make sure it matches up with the things you want it to do. That markdown file that you can download here is going to really help you out with that.